people take away from it that you're helping other members of your community, and this really is an awesome community we have here in Burlington.
The need has steadily grown in Burlington over the years.
The food pantry serves around 57 families, and over 200 of those are kids. So that's why we got all the kids food for this time, like snacks, Oreos, and stuff like that.
We're gonna keep this project going as long as it goes for quarantine and even farther on.
The wish tree and the people helping people here at the mall has been a huge tradition for us for a number of years.
The mall is a great place to stop by and pick up a gift or a wish for the child.
It's an important asset for the community. There are so many people who are food insecure living in town. As affluent as Burlington may seem, we really do have a number of people who are food insecure. If you want to volunteer, you can go through the food pantry and we'll work it in to do some weeding and watering and harvesting.
Their hard work is just one piece of a much larger picture that hopefully provides some safety net for families in need within our community. But we wanted to make sure that, especially this year where our volunteers have worked so very hard and everything is turned upside down, we still wanted to make sure that we thank our volunteers and let everyone know that without you, we are nothing. We could not serve the community if it was not for our volunteers.
Hi, I'm Judy Walsh. I'm president of People Helping People, our nonprofit organization in town that supports not only the food pantry, but youth and family services basic needs, and we also run a holiday program. We've been in existence for over 30 years, starting back in the 1980s. The food pantry has been on this location since 1991. The mission of People Helping People is to help meet the basic needs of Burlington's most needy residents. We do this through sustained community-wide efforts, through providing hunger relief, emergency financial aid, and holiday support. We have a board of 12 volunteers who represent some of the churches in town. We have our town moderator, Bill Byer, is a member of the board. And we also have a member of the clergy, Reverend Wells, is on our board. And of course, then we have our wonderful pantry coordinators, Jane McInich and Cheryl Barnes, who have done a fabulous job running our food pantry. There's over 200 volunteers which support the pantry, and we're actually trying to recognize these volunteers at this time. Usually in March or April, we have a dinner for all the volunteers. Unfortunately, because of the COVID-19, we were unable to have that dinner this year. So on Saturday, September 12th, we are having a drive-up parade, and we're going to recognize our volunteers who really are the heart of our organization. We also have a fundraising committee made up of a few Burlington residents that help us with our funds. We're basically supported by many individuals, by the companies of Burlington, by grants, and by our fundraisers. We have the Capitol Grill raffle, which usually is in the fall, and then in February we have our wine tasting. Some of the fundraising and fund events have been canceled this year, such as the post office food drive, where we usually get 8,000 to 10,000 pounds of food. And so we've been having some drive-up food drives. September 12th, we will have another drive-up food drive. The last one we had in August, we got over 1,000 pounds of food, which was fabulous for a summer Saturday. We are looking forward to recognizing our volunteers, and we thank our community for all the support they've given us during the COVID-19 pandemic. People have stepped up with food, donating at our donation center. We've gotten so many different people step up and make monetary donations to us, and that's what helps keep our organization running. We're a total nonprofit.
I'm Jane McInich. I'm one of the co-coordinators here at the Food Pantry. First, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge all who have been affected by COVID. Many associated with our organization have felt the ravage of the disease on their own bodies, and even more have watched a loved one go through it. This disease has taken many loved ones from us, and we want to cherish their memories and remember them as the wonderful people they were and not an anonymous statistic. Our response to COVID really started when the schools and businesses started to close down around March 13th. For anyone who have ever been to the pantry, you know that our space is very small. And we often experience very crowded conditions during regular distributions. And we knew immediately that that was not going to fly during a pandemic of an airborne illness. We went through several iterations of trying different approaches before settling on our current contact-free drive-through distribution. It has been a true team effort with input from volunteers and clients to continuously improve the system. For those of you who might not have participated in a distribution, the families line up in the parking lot in their cars. Someone comes out and signs them in and goes over the list of available food. The family tells us what they like and what they don't like, and the list is then sent into the pantry, split in 4, and 4 different volunteers pack each part of it. Once the food is packed, it is brought out from each end of the building, and it meets up and is packed into the trunk of the family's cars. The family waits safely in their cars, and our volunteers are spread out across our building and across the parking lot so that everyone can stay safe. During the peak of the response in April, the request for assistance from us went up at least 50% over the same time last year. During the first 6 months of this year, we gave out more food than we gave out in the entirety of 2019, and we served almost twice as many families as we did in 2019 alone. But in addition to the increased demand for the pantry itself, several other of our programs sprang into action. Back in March, when the schools closed down on a Friday, our wonderful volunteer vacation lunch program manager pulled out the plans we had already been making for April vacation, and over the weekend set the wheels into motion to roll out the program a month early. We pulled food together and recruited additional volunteers, and by Tuesday, we were ready to serve what we called the emergency lunch program to all school-age children, and the program grew from there. In contrast to previous years, this year we served both programs here at the pantry in the same location. St. Mark's Episcopal Church, our next door neighbor and whose grounds we most graciously are hosted on, very generously opened up their church hall and allowed us to serve the lunch program out of there. The lunch program operates very differently from the pantry with a preset menu of lunch, breakfast, and snacks. Once a week, families are provided with the ingredients they need to prepare the meals themselves. Many families who came for the children's lunch program for the first time then also sign up for pantry services. In addition to these 2 programs providing food for the humans in our town, we also ended up growing a pet pantry. Early on, we received some donations of pet products, and when others saw it advertised on Facebook, they joined in, and pet food, cat, dog food, cat litter started pouring in.
Hi, my name is Peter Coppola. I am the lead senior volunteer at the Food Pantry Garden located at the Community Garden Complex. The Community Garden Complex was started about 2012, 2013 was our first growing season. It's 3 gardens in one. The volunteer garden that provides food to the food pantry, the school garden and lease plots for residents who do not have a place at their condominiums or homes or apartments where they can grow flowers and vegetables. The volunteer garden augments the food that is received by the pantry. So we are focused more on delivering fresh vegetables to the pantry. So it's delivered here today at the hour it's picked. We bring it right here and it's distributed that day, which has been great. The pantry garden is strictly run by volunteers. We have a core group of a half dozen people who have been awesome with the planting and the prepping and the harvesting. And then we have business partners who help and assist. This year, because of the pandemic, we did not have any support from the business community, even though some of them tried. They were unable to figure out a way to come and help us. But because of the business volunteers, we've been able to do so much at the pantry with their support and contributions. This year, we were able to build a composting center, which is part of our educational theme at the garden. So we had 5 composting bins and 1 compost bin for the finished product up and running this year. And we actually already harvested 2 yards of compost, which we have already spread into the garden. And that's important because we do not use any fertilizer or pesticides. We're 100% organic in our garden.
Hi, I'm Christine Schruin, the Director of Youth and Family Services here in Burlington, and we've worked together with People Helping People for more than 25 years. We basically do the screening process for the basic needs program that People Helping People offers. For those of you that don't know, that program offers assistance, financial assistance for folks that may be having a hard time making their rent payments or their utilities. And you know, with COVID having come into the mix, that piece has impacted a lot of folks. So we're a resource in the community to be able to help connect folks with People Helping People funds. It's been a great collaboration. I want you volunteers to know that we've really appreciated the work that you've done. We've oftentimes sent folks over to the pantry when they've come in to meet with us and kind of look at the overall picture, and being able to have them visit the pantry on a weekly basis really does help free up some funds for them to be able to keep their head above water. The work that you have done has been phenomenal, and we look forward to many more years of collaborating with People Helping People.
Hi, I'm Patrick Larkin. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Burlington Public Schools, and I'm really privileged to be here to say a few words about People Helping People and the Burlington Food Pantry. Back when the pandemic started this year, the food pantry and all the volunteers picked up the service of providing meals for our families, and just overnight they increased their production for families to over 40% to what they were typically doing. And what a service for our community, and we're eternally grateful to Cheryl Barnes, Jane McInich, Melanie Goshgarian, and again, I don't want to leave anybody out, but all the volunteers, and thanks to our staff from the school side, Karen Damaso, and I know a lot of teachers came out here and volunteered as well. So historically, if you don't know, the Burlington Food Pantry has helped us provide meals for our students going back to the summer of 2015, where they helped us out during the summertime. And then again, when the pandemic hit this year, they just took on more than we ever could have hoped for. And I don't know if we would have made it through without their services. So I just want to thank them for all their work, and certainly I don't think we can ever repay the debt, but we're certainly going to try.
Hi, my name is Rick Picarello. I'm the pastor at Mount Hope Church in Burlington. And over the last number of years, we've had the privilege of partnering with People Helping People on a number of different events, including the Wish Tree and the Summer Meals Program. And over that time, it's been wonderful to see the work that's been done by People Helping People. My wife Wendy and I usually try and take the last night of the Wish Tree at the mall, because we love seeing all those gifts come in at the last minute and everyone in the town showing generosity in this way. But we also know that on the backside of that, all the volunteers that sort those gifts and get them ready for families to be able to celebrate the holidays. We are grateful for all that's done there. And as well, the Summer Meals Program, when that was started a couple years ago, to be able to say that People Helping People saw a need and then volunteers mobilized to meet that need in a real way. It's just a blessing to be in Burlington and to be in a community that cares about each other the way that Burlington does. Thank you to all the volunteers and everyone that makes that possible.
Hello, my name is Ranjani and I serve on the board of People Helping People. The People Helping People Kathy Abuzara Memorial Scholarship was established by her family in 2019 in memory of Kathy's dedication to community service and to the Burlington Food Pantry. 2 scholarships totaling $5,000 were awarded this year to Burlington residents who were graduating from high school, who demonstrated impactful community service and performed exemplary volunteer work. Today, I would like to congratulate the 2 recipients of this scholarship, Gianna Carpenito and Alyssa Porter. We are so proud and so grateful for all you have done during your tenure as a volunteer in high school. Congratulations.
I chose to volunteer at People Helping People's Pantry because I thought it was a great organization that helps the community around where I live. And I love coming back because the people are great, the community is great. I think that the programs are really helpful. Like it was fun helping to do the shopping for the lunch programs when I did that previously. And you really get to know everyone in the community nearby too. And you can really tell that the volunteers really care for everyone in the community too. It's just a great way to help others and meet everybody. Yeah. Yeah, it was honestly like, I just moved here from Maryland too. So it was really nice to meet everyone around here because I didn't really know anyone except for my husband's family, and like some of my mom's side is here too, but they're kind of further away in Massachusetts. So it was nice to make some connections around here. And it was actually through like one of the connections that remember Shannon? Yeah. Because of her, I heard about the program that I work for now. So I looked into Thome early intervention, and it was through her experience with them that I looked into that program, and then I got my actual career job now.
Hi, it's been a great opportunity to be a part of the Burlington Food Pantry, been able to contribute positively to our local community. Great opportunity. I hope we can restart after COVID is kind of finally put to bay. So thanks again, Burlington Food Pantry.
So when I retired, I was at a loss for what to do next. And I looked online at volunteer opportunities and found the food bank. And I thought that was a great place to start. Well, since starting, what I like about it down there is when you're working full time, you get a sense of accomplishment with what you're doing each day and the projects that you're completing. And that sense of accomplishment for me was gone, just totally gone. So starting at the food bank was, for me personally, a great opportunity to get that sense of accomplishment back. Not only did I get a great sense of accomplishment back, but met some very wonderful people who in turn had the same views as I did as far as giving back. So when you're working full time your whole life, you've had these Saturdays and Sundays are a godsend. And out of that Saturday and Sunday, very little time you take giving back. Now I have the opportunity to give back. It's just come back to me twofold, as far as from the volunteering perspective. To see the folks that are down there the customers, for lack of a better word. It's great to help them. I have built up a couple of really nice relationships with them, especially their children, because I just love the children. And also, geez, I lost my point for a second. But anyway, just being down there has been given me a sense of commitment that was lacking after I stopped working, and then that sense of accomplishment. Fast forward to COVID, it has been a lifesaver. Once COVID, once you and Cheryl went through and did the whole food pantry over. And listen, I knew it was more than just you and Cheryl. I'll throw Kenny in there too, because Kenny's down there all the time. But I know it was more than just the three of you. Getting back there now with COVID and having, again, a place to go, a place to contribute, and a place to be where you're needed is just, from a human perspective, just priceless. So that's my say about people helping people.
About 7 years ago, I believe. I've always known about the food pantry. When it first started, it was just a little trailer. I think Miriam Malcasian ran it, and you would pull up with a bag of groceries and hand it to her, and then when somebody came in need, she would hand them out a sorted bag of groceries. And so we knew about it for a long time. But then our daughter lives in New Jersey, and for some unknown reason, her friend, who also grew up here in Burlington and now lives in New Jersey, decided instead of giving something to the New Jersey pantry where she lived, she wanted us to bring something home. So after visiting at, I think it was Christmas time in New Jersey, I went down to the food pantry, was surprised to see it was, grown. And I think it may have been Christy who took the goods that I brought, and then I looked around and she said, "Would you like to volunteer?" And I said, "Sure." And she said, "Well, how many days a week?" And I said, 2. And she said, "Okay, now how many weeks a month?" And I said, "Every week." I didn't know you could choose, like, I'll come once a month or something. Who knew? So it would have been a lot quieter, Kenny, if I had only come once a month, because I believe Ken was the one who told me, "Do you talk all the time? Because I can hear you in the back shelves and there's no one else there," and I'm still talking to myself. So I started to do Tuesday and Wednesday, and I also drove people to and from the pantry as part of the ride, I think it's called. And no, I forget what it was called, but anyway, it's been fantastic. Number one, meeting all of the other volunteers. And number 2, getting to know Christy, Cheryl, Jane, Kenny, all of these wonderful people. And then the clients that we have. When you drive them, especially, they tell you their life story. And some of the people that we help are, they've just gone through an awful lot of stuff. We've got funny people, we've got quiet people, we've just got all kinds of folks, and I'm just delighted to do what little I do. I'm very, very proud. I'm going to cry now. I'm very proud of all that you guys have done and how quickly you responded to the pandemic. And Melanie too, with the lunch program. It was just amazing to me how fast you did it all. It's been terrific. I do remember some funny things, like when we went through the period when Jane thought she would try out different methods of walking and getting the groceries. I believe there was the backward period when we did the pastry first, and that didn't quite work out. And I was being a smart ass, and instead of walking backward, I did the Michael Jackson moonwalk. I don't think that's what she meant, but I'm just so happy to have been part of it. And you guys have been so nice to me, because since I'm over a certain age, during the COVID thing, I don't believe we were allowed to come in and mingle with people, etc. So, but you gave me some chores to do to make me feel useful. I get to go to Starbucks a couple of times a week, and I get to call the people who need deliveries and chat with them, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I started with the food pantry because there's things I enjoy doing and I found a way to help people while doing what I enjoy doing. And I basically thought that was enough, but with Kathy so involved with the food pantry, I sucked in to do, could you do this? Could you do that? And it feels good to be able to help. And the part that's really, really surprising is while you're going through helping, you suddenly find out that you've gotten a second family. So I appreciate that opportunity as well.
So I haven't been around the pantry as long as a lot of other people, but I'm always just seriously impressed by the amount of work and just the volume of food that goes through the pantry each week. And I mean, I knew about the pantry, I knew that it existed, but when the school shutdown happened in the spring, when COVID really hit and basically everything stopped, I was like a lot of people, I think, just kind of grasping for something to do to help, any little thing that I could do. And so I heard that the pantry needed help, and so I sent an email, and I think Jane wrote me back and said, "Come on, stay." And I, was just kind of jumping into the deep end of the pool, and all of a sudden I'm packing boxes and learning all these new procedures and everything that's going on, and just felt grateful that there was something I could do to help people that are going through a tough time. And I just wanted to be able to give back a little bit. And like I said, just thousands and thousands of pounds of food going through the pantry every week. It's amazing what you guys are doing, and I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to do a few hours of helping every week. And I want to be able to continue to help, and I'm amazed by what you guys do every day.
This whole event is about celebrating our volunteers. And we thought that this year we wanted to start a new tradition to celebrate our volunteers. And we have decided that in addition to our Volunteer of the Year, who has already been given out, we also wanted to recognize a few more volunteers. So in the spirit of volunteers, spelling out the word, we came up with an award for each letter of the word volunteers. And that's what we're going to be giving out now.
Before we do that, we'd just like to preface it by saying there's just not enough letters in the word volunteers. We really appreciate each and every one of you for all that you do.
So volunteers starts with V. And in our case, V represents vitality. Our Vitality Award goes to a garden volunteer. We have a small but very hardworking crew. Many of them have been with us for several years. Our volunteers in the garden are early risers who are at the garden early to water, weed, and eventually harvest the fruit of their hard work. Many of them have a leased plot to work on in addition to the work on the volunteer garden. We would like to recognize Janet Zhu for her never-ending fight with the weeds. So while the focus of what we do is on the families we serve, there are so many jobs needed to make sure we have the resources necessary to provide for the families. While a lot of the food we distribute come to us through direct donations, funds are still needed to keep a roof over our heads, keep the appliances running, renting a truck to pick up food from different places, and many more moving parts to make sure the food can be distributed to families. And not to forget that our organization also provides several other programs who rely solely on financial funding. So we would like to recognize Dan DiTucci for his outstanding hard work. Come on over.
Thank you. Thank you.
Through many years on our fundraising committee. He helps us pay the bills. Thank you.
Thank you.
So L for loyal. We'd like to recognize Nadia and Carlo Albano. Carlo couldn't be here because he's helping his mom today. But they are here at the pantry every Wednesday, even prior to COVID and throughout. They didn't hesitate once it hit. They also volunteer at Heartbeat, and they help out wherever needed, anytime. They're a rock star team, and we're honored to have them. We thank you both.
Thank you.
A licensed nutritionist, Harriet has shared her knowledge in various fruitful ways, assisting with designing well-rounded, healthy meal plans for the lunch program, and even providing nutritional advice to the community during the health fairs. In addition, week after week, Harriet does the data entry for us. We are so appreciative of her efforts, so we honor her with this unsung award. Thank you, Harriet.
Thank you. I'm honored.
N stands for new. We have 200 to 300 volunteers working with us during the course of a year. Many are one-time volunteers, many work hard for longer periods of time, and the hardcore volunteers work year after year. But everyone starts out being a new volunteer at some point. During the last few months, we've had a lot more new volunteers than we usually do. So many of our new volunteers this year jumped in with both feet and got right to work, and have worked very hard. But one in particular had been working with the lunch program all summer long. Whenever she was in the building, she would step up and help keep other volunteers going, and it has been such a pleasure working with her. We would like to recognize Kristen Brady.
T for team player, and there's no better team player than Lauren Kelly. Lauren has been volunteering at the pantry for years, and during the COVID pandemic, she doubled down, filling numerous positions. Lauren is a crackerjack. She can jump right in, excelling at any task, including training newcomers. We are so appreciative of her. We consider her a great asset. And so for this, we recognize you as a team player. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
The E stands for enterprising. A big part of what makes our food pantry great is the very large variety of food we have available. As compared to many pantries, we take in a much larger portion of our food through direct donations from individuals and organizations. This year, a couple of enterprising high school students ran a GoFundMe campaign to collect money to purchase food and supplies, not just for our pantry, but for several other pantries in surrounding towns. We would like to recognize Ayush Shingavi and Anshul Shirude for their hard work and great ideas. Come on over, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your hard work and your great ideas.
Thank you.
E for exuberant, and the award goes to Ding Ding Kim Trainer. Another veteran volunteer. Kim comes each Tuesday during our busiest distribution time, ready for action. And amidst the busyness, she has fun with other volunteers, passing on each grocery list with a little ding ding. On top of that, she comes back every Thursday after our final distribution with her awesome crew and puts the pantry back in order. For this, we recognize your exuberance. Thank you, Kim. R for retreated. Sadly, COVID forced many of our dedicated volunteers to be furloughed, and we like to think of them as temporarily on a retreat. That said, with this award, we would like to acknowledge Mike Chavis as our retreated volunteer. Mike picked up donations on a weekly basis, stocked them at the pantry, helped out with distribution, and had no hesitation taking out the trash. We have missed his playful wit, and it's so nice to see him again today. For all your efforts prior to this pandemic, we thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Our Spirited Volunteer Award goes to a mother and daughter team. Besides from the pantry, one of our largest programs is the Wish Tree program. It takes a lot of work, many volunteers planning, getting families signed up, collecting all the gifts, sorting and organizing all the gifts, and getting them to the right families. We'd love to recognize the hard work of our spirited mother-daughter team of Caroline Blake and Denise Shingalian. Hopefully I pronounced that right. We would be lost without them.
So we're adding an exclamation point to the end of our word volunteers. And this award will go to Melanie Goshgarian. Melanie has helped people helping people in many ways wherever she is able. Whether assisting at the pantry, the lunch program, collecting school supplies, or keeping up our social media from home, she has a way of adding that extra something to everything she does. Her resourcefulness, thoughtfulness, and sense of humor have been a breath of fresh air to this organization. So to our dear friend, Melanie, thank you so much.
So as we have mentioned over and over again, we could not do what we do without the assistance of all of our volunteers. Unfortunately, like Cheryl said, there are just too few letters in the word volunteers. But we want to make sure that every one of you, that we appreciate you and we love you.
Yes.
And we could not do what we do without you. Thank you so much.
On Saturday, September 12th, People Helping People Board of Directors will be recognizing our wonderful volunteers with a parade at the pantry. Please join us in helping us salute our volunteers from 11 to 2 as we thank our wonderful People Helping People volunteers.